Hi, my name is Martin Holcomb. I am the Chief Executive of Birmingham Settlement. We have been developing a 3-acre field next to the Edgbaston Reservoir, and we've been based in Ladywood since 1899. Birmingham Settlement was established in 1899. We came out of the Victorian philanthropic movement. So originally we were engaged with the Cadburys and through the universities. There were a number of settlements set up around the country. Where we actually came from in terms of what it is that we do, perhaps the best way to explain it is a quote from William Beveridge. And when he was asked what these settlements do, his response was nothing in particular, just what needs to be done. And we very much see that as our method of working. We work in a community, we're an anchor-based organisation, we work with the individuals and the groups in that area to try and help them do what needs to be done for them in their area. Our main sort of objectives at the moment are around building financial resilience for communities and individuals. It's about improving people's well-being. It's around giving them opportunities to develop themselves into what it is that they want to do. And then underpinning all of that has to be sustainability. We were formed in Ladywood. We were formed in Summer Row. The reservoir was created in 1824, Thomas Telford, and then in 1923, as areas were being developed and the housing was going up around the space, this area was purchased or put under a covenant by a charity called the Graham Street Charity, of which Birmingham Settlement was the sole trustee. The Graham Street Charity eventually was closed down, and so now Birmingham Settlement owns this site, and it's a 3-acre field. It was used by schools and children and community groups, and in the 1980s or 1990s there was a sports pavilion that was burned down, and since that time it's been fairly fallow. The Edgbaston Reservoir is a beautiful site. It's a hidden jewel in the city. You can walk to it from the city centre. So as people walk around the reservoir, we need to make sure that they can access the field, the space that we have, and that's why we're looking now to try and develop that space to a more usable, more friendly space. We want it to be that as people come in and they walk around the reservoir, they can also spend the day here. So creating this wellbeing centre means that there are toilets, you can have a cup of tea, you can have shelter, you can come for the day rather than have to come and go away. So we started engaging with groups and we started speaking to people about what they would like to see happen on the space. One of the first contacts, if you like, that helped us through that was actually Use It, which was a Birmingham City Council funded and European funded programme. And through that, we met Carolina, who introduced some of the people from the area, and we started to put on events. We did several family days, pop-up picnics, fun days to engage with people. We had fantastic tug of war, we had gazebos, we had music playing, we had free food, and generally we had a lovely time bringing out lots of people. While we at first were thinking we might get 100, 200 people. On one event, we think we had over 900 people. Some of the individuals who were involved in helping to organise and driving it and making it happen thought, why are we doing this as one-offs? Why don't we do something more collaborative and more longer term? And out of that, they actually created a small community business themselves, which is called Eat, Make, Play. So at the moment on the playing field, we have a small plot of land that Eat, Make, Play actually run themselves, which is great because this is a pilot project. So that, to me, highlights the sort of collaboration that we're looking for in the space. We decided that we needed to build something back on the site to replace the pavilion, but maybe something a bit more robust. And for some of the smaller community groups who are maybe voluntary-led, maybe ad hoc and infrequent in terms of what they do and the activities they do, they need something that they can use as a base to work from. So that's why we put in the planning permissions. We got the permissions to put this, what we're calling is a small wellbeing centre. Before we could even start the construction of the wellbeing centre itself, we had to spend, in excess of 100,000 to just creating access to the site. This is during a pandemic. We've also been affected by by Brexit, again over Christmas 2020. With that coming into effect means that there's been issues getting products and materials through the customs and onto the site. The construction team, which is Featherstone Build, they've been absolutely fantastic, and the architects, which is Axis Design, again they've been fantastic in putting more effort than they needed to, I think, to make sure it happens and it gets done. The other element, which is an added complication, is the importance of being green and being environmentally friendly with the construction processes. So we have a biodisc, so we in effect have a mini sewerage system on the site. The heat that we're going to use to keep the buildings going or to keep the wellbeing centre warm is actually sourced through ground source heating. So we're about to dig 3 holes around 100 metres into the ground so that we're not actually using electricity off the grid. We should be a net provider. The framework and the bricks around the insulation, the type of bricks we're using, which are clay, is all extremely low carbon. So as a building, we've tried to stay as true as we can to the values of the site. This is a nature reserve, it's a beautiful area, and we want it to be as carbon neutral and as environmentally friendly as we possibly can, which has been a fantastic thing to do. Moving ahead, what we want to put on the site is another building, which would be more of an activity space. And again, it's not clearly defined in terms of what the activities are, because we want the community groups and the communities around us to define what those activities should be. What we want to do is create a space for them to do so. Further on the field, we also are using the soil and some of the excavation that was needed to put this building into place to create an embankment where we can put an amphitheatre, so we will be creating a performance space. We're going to be having some greenhouses where we can actually start to grow flowers, crops, and from there we can then take them onto the main centre of the field where we're going to have more grow plots, bigger grow plots, where we can actually create food that we can use ourselves, that we can eat ourselves, get the community involved and get them to learn to see what they can do in their window boxes, in their pots, in their small gardens, whatever it may be. As an organisation, we're already engaged with numerous community groups, very small, locally led grassroots groups. For me, that's the mechanism that we can hear people's voice, helping us to make sure the things that we're creating and the spaces we're creating are suitable for them to put the things that they want to put on. We're involved with a community consortium, so that's a group of a number of local charities and community groups and social interest companies, if you like, from small to large, who are all based around the Edgbaston Reservoir area. And what organisations like the settlement can provide and what groups like the community consortium that's been established can provide is that platform so that people have a mechanism to influence the powers that be, the planning, the changes that are going on in the area. It's been interesting, it's been fun, and I hope it's been a sort of a discovery and a journey to build more understanding amongst the different sectors and the different sort of pressures that people are put under. Because at the end of the day, I think we all want the same thing. It's just the means to get there that we've got to finalise and work out.